Gyamfi is a political historian. He's joining us on Zoom right now. He's a senior lecturer, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We also have an executive member, a national executive member of the newly formed United Party joining us in a bit. But Prof, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, I want to find out from you what this particular development, considering the poor showing of breakaway parties, as I have just showed, at least in the Fourth Republic in this country, will this United Party make any difference, taking into consideration what we have seen since 1992?
It's an interesting question, my brother. Where we sit now, we understand that there's a question about seeking for a third force. We are yet to have that third force emerge. But anecdotally, we also know that when Alan Martin formed his movement for change, the political questions that came up within the period under review was whether there is going to be an emerging third force. But anecdotally, we know that that movement Alan Martin formed, affectionately known as the Aranto movement, was a movement that took away something from the NPP. It did not necessarily marshal the necessary forces to be able to win elections. It rather served as a base or a conduit through which disgruntled NPP members could exhibit their protest against the NPP. And like I said earlier, anecdotally, I think that it accounted for the, if you like, the massive loss of the NPP. It formed part of the major puzzlement that the NPP itself is trying to unravel. But it's right to think that historically, these smaller parties have not been able to win political power. The UP itself, in its old form, came about as a result of the existing legal instrument or legislation that barred ethnic-centric, religious-centered fraternities or groups, which allowed for the Northern People's Party, allowed for the NLM, and other parties in the Greater Accra region and elsewhere to begin to come together, right, to form what will be known largely as the United Party, right? So an amalgam of the Northern People's Party, Muslim Association Party, National Liberation Movement, and Low Youth Organization, Togoland Congress, and Shifi Mope. These parties came together because there was existing national legal instrument that barred such, if you like, ethnic nationalism, religious, if you like, formations or groups that rather push for national politics, to rather seek for a more inclusive or those parties that were national in character. That around this time, there will be a certain zest or push or a certain turnaround or a certain eventuality or event that will, if you like, serve as a pivot or a fulcrum around which this UP, this new United Party, can rather bring other political parties together. So in my mind, in trying to contemplate and reflect on what Mr. Alan Kojo Martin seeks to do, I believe that he's seeking to call all other forces, except for the NPP and the NDC, to come together under this United Party, as it was seen of old, to be able to serve as a united front that may potentially or possibly serve as a third force that can win political power. But in my mind, I think that this United Party may still take something away from the NPP, unless the NPP, by the close of January, is able to come up with a leader who would have a certain telepathy with the founder and the leader of this new UP. And that in itself may have the tendency or the proclivity to bring them together in a certain new birth alliance that will give birth to victory for the NPP family. That was a transmogrification of the UP in the historical sense.
I see.
So I am of the view that this new movement, a new political party, is going to trigger several conversations, and many may perceive that if it has the potential or the capacity to revive the old UP in the sense of uniting pockets of smaller parties or disgruntled members of the bigger parties to come together to serve as a third force.
I thank you, Prof. Thank you so much for this. Danaya Osapong is a national executive member of the newly formed United Party. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Danaya, if you could put your video on for me, but first off, in a quick one, there is that doubt of whether or not you would form that kind of third force that the political landscape needs right now. And if so, are you going to be able to do that without the help of the other smaller parties? Nana.
Alfred, I lost you at the point. Are you able to repeat the question, please?
I was asking if you clearly you listen to Prof. There's that doubt of whether you can form the third force on your own without necessarily getting the strength and the amalgamation with the other smaller political parties. What path are you taking to achieve this third force that you say you want to break the duopoly of NPP and NDC? Right, quick one.
Thank you very much, Alfred. I think that we are a very open political party, and as the interim leadership had already stated, Alfred, we are open. We went into election 2024 calling on all smaller political parties to join us, and the proposals kept coming. Now we have formed what we call the United Party. Our gates are still opened, and I think that we have presented Ghanaians a leadership. What is lacking in this country is leadership. We are presenting to Ghanaians a leadership of integrity and ethics. We are presenting to Ghanaians a leadership of discipline. We are presenting to Ghanaians a leadership that is available and ready to enforce law and order. We are presenting to Ghanaians a leadership that is tolerant. And with these core values, that I think that we are being attractive, and we are attracting all these smaller political parties, and they are going to join us. You watch the space.
We'll see how the coming days will look like on this. And Sapon, thank you very much for joining us in